Okay, I know it seems like we were just here, like minutes ago. Minutes ago we were here. Oh my goodness. I leave for 2 minutes, and the jury comes out and the verdict comes in. That's how it went. And I guess, if that's what I have to do, just let me know. I'll end the live stream early, just so we can do that in the future. We'll try that. I wanted to say a special shout out to just a few people who actually just lit up my phone. Let's see. Amber, for everything you've done. Little Miss as well. Mary Kay, Debbie. We've got, let's see, who is this one? Rebecca, Bite Me. RA, Weather Watch. We've got a bunch of you reached out to me and just said, hey, verdict's coming in. So here we are. We are back. We're back. And this is crazy, because last I thought the jury was like, they were making plans for dinner, right? And then boom, they got me. Well, they got me. Michelle, thanks for being first in chat. Hiya, high six, I guess. High six. I think that was a typo. But yeah, we've got a verdict in the Aaron Dean case, and so I'm waiting here. We're watching. Let's see. The only one that's got a feed right now is we've got some talking heads on WFAA. Nothing yet from Fox 4. Nothing even announced yet on the verdict watch for Law and Crime. They're not saying anything either. So let's see. So we have what? Do we have an hour? Per WFAA, I heard the gal shout out in the hallway from the courtroom. Verdict at 2 p.m., 8 minutes, 7 minutes. Thank you, CG in Texas. I appreciate that. We are live here. Hopefully people get the notifications. But Michelle, first in chat means that you have won the internet for the rest of the day. Congratulations. We're going to box it up and email it to you. And you have to keep it up and running during the whole verdict and after that as well, until we start our live stream tomorrow. Daniel, verdict reached. It's about time, says Michelle Stark. Are you talking about me showing up again or what? It's cold here, says Here We Go. It is cold. It's cold everywhere right now. Toxic, welcome back. Good to have you here. Daniel, Katrina, what? Yeah, that happened. We left for just a minute. Law and Crime has a feed already. We're going to take it. Let's see if we can get some audio with it, though. No audio on this feed yet. Audio is still muted. He's looking nervous. Finally, a verdict. All you had to do was step away again, make things happen. That's what we did. Weather Watch, and thanks for reaching out to me. I was just reaching for the pickle sandwich. I guess it's a turkey sandwich. Pickles are the main item on it, and then this happened. So the sandwich will have to wait. Scott goes offline. The verdict comes in. It's like they can see. It's like the jury was watching the live stream, saying, "Hey, watch this. Wait till he goes. We'll wait. We'll wait till he goes off, and then we're good." We're going to switch to WFAA here.
In terms of sentencing,
we'll have their audio here in the background just briefly.
But they've taken almost as long as it took to come up with the verdict on guilt innocence.
And we're going to try to get to Fox 4, who's got an even better feed here in just a moment.
The jury was sequestered last night. So, what do you think is going on right here?
And we've got Fox 4, so we're going to take that here because that gives us a clean feed. All right, so let's line everything up. Okay. I think we're good. We've got audio coming in on camera 2. Okay, levels are good. Okay, we're just waiting for audio. I'm not kidding. I'm serious. I know the last stream we did that was titled Aaron Dean, we said the judge may never read the verdict because we thought that the jury was just going to deliberate forever and just have free meals for life. Free hotel, free meals for life. He looks a little ragged. It looks like he just threw his suit on, didn't comb his hair. We do have a verdict is what we're hearing, and we've got a court feedback, so that would support that. I'm hoping it's a conclusion. I'm hoping it's not that we have a hung jury. I mean, they might have a decision, have reached a decision that they can't make a decision. That might still be a possibility, but we know they have reached a decision. Had I just fallen asleep? Oh, no. There was no chance of me falling asleep. I was actually just catching up with Mrs. R.A. and the family. They've been away this morning, and they just popped back in, and I was talking to them. Let's see, they must not have liked what was on the dinner menu. Yeah. Bologna sandwiches? Fine. We'll agree. Welcome back, Katrina. Thanks for being here. Ed, the verdict is in. Thank you very much. Thank you to everybody who reached out to me. Tina as well. Appreciate all the information. Some of you have your finger on the hot button when it comes to breaking news, and I appreciate you reaching out and sharing that with me. Grumpy Cat says, finally! It has been forever. This seems like this has been the longest deliberation ever. I need a tissue break. Hang on one second. Okay, we've got... yeah, he's looking around the courtroom. He's looking back at his family is what he's doing. Okay. It's always the way. You sign off and then it all happens. They timed it just for me. It's just so I could get a new live stream going. They didn't want the verdict to come in on the Sarah Boone live stream. And I appreciate their consideration on that one. Quick poll. Probation or yeah, let's see what we can do here. So let's do a yes or no on probation, right? Because it's hard to get the years and the probation all in 4 questions. Let's do this. You'll see it in just a minute. Sorry. Let me ask this one first, Ed, for our first poll, because I think this is still on the table. Maggie says, Scotland watching. Hello from Scotland. Welcome. It's good to have you, Maggie. Do you think the juries are able to agree? That's the question. Oh, was the judge in? The judge is in. Okay, this is it. This is it.
Good afternoon. The jury has sent a note or given me notice that they have reached a verdict. Are both sides ready to receive the verdict?
State's ready, Your Honor. The defense is ready, Judge.
All right. Y'all did fabulous when we did the guilt-innocence verdict, okay? Same rules apply. I don't know what this verdict is. Can't have any emotions, all right? Let's bring them in.
Here we go. Well, it looks like we're going to end the poll here because he said there was a verdict, which means not hung jury in my mind. Looks like Aaron Dean does have a little bit of a goatee sprouting there. Hasn't shaved in a few days, I think. Nova Scotia's here. 7 years, part B and parole. Yeah, put your guess in chat because there's so many options here.
Everyone may be seated.
I do sound a little poorly. I've got a little cold.
Juror number one, it's my understanding the jury has reached a verdict. Is that correct?
Correct.
Is it a unanimous verdict?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay, if you had it, please. Deputy.
There you go.
Mr. Dean. Verdict reads, we, the jury, having found the defendant Aaron York Dean guilty beyond a reasonable doubt of the offense of manslaughter, assess his punishment at confinement in the Texas Department of Criminal Justice for 11 years, 10 months, 12 days. They do not assess a fine. And it is signed by the presiding juror. You may be seated. Thank you very much. Members of the jury, as we went through before, I'm going to call your juror number and ask you if this verdict is your individual verdict. Juror number one, is this your verdict?
Yes, Your Honor.
Juror number three, is this your verdict?
Yes, Your Honor.
Juror number four, is this your verdict?
Yes, Your Honor.
Juror number six, is this your verdict?
Yes, Your Honor.
Juror number 9, is this your verdict? Juror number 14, is this your verdict?
Yes, Your Honor.
Juror number 15, is this your verdict?
Yes, Your Honor.
Juror number 21, is this your verdict? Juror number 31, is this your verdict?
Yes, Your Honor.
Juror number 32, is this your verdict?
Yes, Your Honor.
Juror number 37, is this your verdict?
Yes, Your Honor.
Juror number 38, is this your verdict?
Yes, Your Honor.
Your verdict will be received and filed. Thank you very much. Mr. Gill, Mr. Brissett, is there any legal reason why sentence should not be pronounced?
No legal reason.
Mr. Dean, it's the jury having found you guilty of the offense of manslaughter and assessed this punishment. It's the order of the court you be remanded to the custody of the sheriff, be delivered to the director of the Texas Department of Criminal Justice to serve your sentence as required by law. You will receive credit for all the time that you have served in custody on this case from the date of your original arrest up until today, which would be the date of sentence. You have the right to appeal the jury's decision. You do so by giving written notice of appeal to the Second Court of Appeals here in Fort Worth within 30 days. If you are indigent and cannot afford a lawyer, I would conduct an indigency hearing to determine if you are indigent. And if you are indigent, I would appoint a lawyer to represent you on appeal and provide you a record of this appeal of this trial at no cost. Mr. Gill, Mr. Brissett, if y'all will remain on his case pending his decision whether he wishes to appeal, and if you'll furnish the information for the trial court certification of appeal before you leave here today, I would appreciate it. Is there an allocution? Yes. You may be seated. Thank you very much.
Time served is short because he's been out on bail. So now we get some, these are going to be the impact statements.
Good afternoon. Would you want a microphone or you feel fine? You need some water?
If you want some water? Want some water?
I'll take a microphone.
She'll take a microphone.
Okay.
So yeah, anything over 10 years,
Yes.
he's eligible for parole after half of
Are
it.
you ready?
I'll turn it up just a little bit, little miss.
Atatiana Jefferson. Atatiana Jefferson was a bright, vibrant light. See, Aaron Dean, what you thought when you shot our baby through her heart was that you were going to put her light out. That's what you thought. But I'm here to tell you that Atatiana was that light that refuses to die. While living, she would shine in the darkest situations. She would not only shine to see her way through, but she would shine to light the path of others. But now that you saw fit to take her from this undeserving world, thinking her light would leave with her. That's what you thought. But I want you to go to your cell knowing that her light is only transferred. Instead of lighting rooms she entered, her light is brighter and warmer, just as the sun. And now, she lights the world. So what I'm saying is, Aaron Dean, you ain't stopped nothing. You ain't stopped nothing.
Long Crimes pointing out on Twitter, Kathy Russin pointing out that the jury recommended 11 years, 10 months, 12 days, which coincidentally, Atatiana Jefferson was killed on 10/12, and her nephew Zion is 11 years old. So there's a little number correlation there, possibly symbolic, that the jury went with.
So I'm here to read a statement from my sister first, Amber, who's currently in the hospital. Atatiana was a special super duper helper. She made a way out of no way. She was my shoulder I leaned on and depend on her. She was Zion's auntie. He really loved her because they were so much alike. She was my inspiration. Even when she really didn't have the time to help, she seemed to make a way to do so. She was very informative about the world events. I'm going to miss that about her. She was so hilarious. She joked all the time until our bellies began to hurt. No amount of sentencing would make me feel as though we received some type of justice. Atatiana should still be here. She had big dreams and goals. Zion now feels he is responsible to fill the whole role of his aunt, and he has the weight of the world on his shoulders. Because of this, Zion will have a lifetime of needs. Despite his needs, he will become successful. He will become a successful young man the way that his Aunt Tay would want him to be. Waiting these 3 years have not been easy. My panic attacks have brought me to the hospital multiple times, actually flatlining 4 times. Mr. Dean had no remorse, and you could tell by his demeanor throughout the whole court process. The only time we saw a difference is when the verdict was read, and at that time, he looked shocked. My family and I still see this as murder. He came out to do so. Murder was on his mind. Amber Carr. And for me. My sister Atatiana was amazing. Is amazing. My heart breaks daily knowing that my family and the world lost a beautiful ray of sunshine. My sister did not do anything wrong. She was in her home which should have been the safest place for her to be, and yet turned out to be the most dangerous. She was murdered. And as her big sister, I live every day with the pain that I could not do my job and protect her. I want you to know that we had plans, Aaron Dean, Atatiana and I. New Orleans was supposed to be for her birthday in 2019. We had more concerts to go to, auntie outings with our nephews. I wanted to cheer her on during her long nights of studying for medical school and be an even louder cheerer when she was at her white coat ceremony. I wanted to watch her grow into the successful doctor, making a difference in other people's lives. But I've lost her. We've lost her. She was a beautiful flower just starting to bloom, and she was cut down senselessly. I stand here today on behalf of my mother, who spent her last days on earth overcome with grief and sorrow. I remember when my mother was happy to have the home for her children where they'll be safe, and that their happiness was violated when my sister, her baby, was murdered in the same place. I made funeral plans for my sister from my mother's bedside, but in the funeral that she was too sick to even attend. My love for my sister and my grief could never fit into this short statement. But I hope it gave you a glimpse of what we have lost. I have not looked forward to this opportunity of addressing you this year. My thoughts have been preoccupied by my sister and the chaos in our family your actions have caused. When my thoughts do go to you and your family, there was a tinge of jealousy. You see, you get to still see them. But now I just feel pity. It took a year or two to get to pity. It was anger and rage at first. I wanted you to suffer the way we are suffering, the way I suffer. I have loathed the idea of you with your family during the holiday seasons for the last 3 years. Today I have just arrived at pity, not because of the punishment you have received from your crime. You and I both know that that is insufficient. I pity your ignorance. I do not know enough. You do not know enough to be ashamed. You're not self-aware enough to understand your responsibilities for this evil act. You're so puffed up and full of yourself that your excuses you made during all of this, you would never truly repent. You went into an American citizen's home because their doors were open, and you shot a black woman to death in front of an 8-year-old child. You spent the last 3 years rehearsing your excuses. I hope you spend the rest of your life reliving this moment and discovering all the terrible decisions that you have made during this decision. Your service as a police officer is a permanent stain on the city of Fort Worth. Your 2 years as a cop marked as a low point as policing in Dallas-Fort Worth region. Your only legacy in this life will be the unrepentancy murder of my sister, and that will be the punishment you will truly have to face.
Okay, so these are the victim's statements. This is after the sentencing. He did get 11 years, 10 months, 12 days as his sentence of incarceration. Because it was over that, there's no probation. He will have to serve at least one half of that before he's eligible for parole. So he's looking at 5.5, a little over 5.5 years. He says he's your prisoner, Sheriff. That means he's turned over, remanded to the custody of the sheriff who's taking him out. That was brief. I was expecting more comments.
I bet you never thought when you got that jury summons in the mail that you would be coming down to do this. Thank you for upholding the highest honor that you have to be to your civic duty. I am going to ask you to retire back into the jury room for just a few minutes. I'll be back with some final instructions, but in your presence, my thanks to 4 people right there. I told you at the beginning of the trial that you would be impressed with the professionalism of the lawyers. I hope you are. They help do my duty and do my job a lot easier. With that, your service as jurors is concluded. Mr. Smith, anything else on behalf of the state?
Nothing to say, Your Honor.
Mr. Brissett, Mr. Gill,
No, Your Honor.
this case is concluded. Retire to your jury room.
So with that, they're released from the restrictions they were under about discussing this outside of deliberation. They're now able, if they wanted to make comments to the press. They can get together. They can write a book. Nobody can make them talk about it, but they're released from all those restrictions. I believe that this also concludes any of the gag order that was in place. Although the people who broke that gag order
We're adjourned.
may still have to face the consequences of that. And we have a councilman and a mayor, I believe, that were included there.
She forgot to thank the jury. Thank you, but if you would convey that message. I will do that. Very happy to do so.
So that's Dean's family through there on the far side. His sister, who's a police officer, there with the short cropped hair. That's his mom standing in back with the purple shirt and the black sort of jacket. I believe it was a symbolic sentence. And the mics are cut off. We're going to cut over here to the outside to see what's happening outside in the hallway.
All
as
right,
families
David,
are
this
leaving
is
here.
right outside of the courtroom where many family members and members of the community
It
and
seems
friends
much calmer.
of the Atatiana Jefferson family have been over the last 2 weeks of this trial since it began on December the 5th. Let's listen in to another member of the community.
Today, that report played out for the whole United States.
A lot of cameras here.
Although not sufficient for me, Atatiana's death will be a catalyst for change of policing in Fort Worth, Texas.
Justice for Atatiana Jefferson.
But the max is what I was looking for, but we're satisfied with the verdict.
You shed many tears over the years over this. Held this in your heart. What is the measure of this for you now?
There's not really a measurement. There's still work to be done, and Atatiana will help me champion change in the city of Fort Worth.
Justice for Atatiana Jefferson. We got it.
I think the fact that the jury came back with that very symbolic number for the sentence it sort of tamped down the reaction here, because I know that most people are still feeling that the sentence was not sufficient, that it should have been higher. But with that 11, 10, 12 sentence, I think they feel like the jury did that with her in mind, because no sentence would be enough, right?
Yeah.
Let's see what we've got here. This is the Fox 4 reporter right there. It looks like we might.
Especially the first one. I don't know if that was the sister.
Got a little bit of hot mic here. Man. Digital Muppet says, with a super chat, "Hey RA, I sent you an email. Can you check your spam, sir?" I definitely can, Digital Muppet. Let me take a look at that. You've realized that that's the proper way to get a hold of me, is by telling me you sent me an email, because I check it once a month, whether I need to or not. And there it is. I'll give you a call, Digital Muppet. Thank you for that. And by the way, thank you for supporting the channel. But I'll give you a call and we'll discuss that one. He's asking about a case that we might be able to follow.
Like I said before, like I said last week, the jury gave long, careful consideration to bring justice to the Jefferson Carr family. They kind of figured it out. 11 years means he's not entitled to an appeal bond. So he will have to stay in jail, in prison, while this case gets appealed. Yes, so I think the jury kind of clicked on that and got it together and realized in 11 years he's not entitled to an appeal bond, so he's going to have to do this time until we find out what happens on the appeal. The family is grateful. We're grateful that the jury took their time. And I mean, that's about it. Fort Worth is going to have to, this is going to calm down a lot of things that could have happened. And I just think that as a whole, as a community, we just need to bring some light to some of the things that's happened in this courtroom during the break here. And there's two different people, you know, two different sides in Fort Worth, you know, and so everybody has to be treated fairly. Being a police officer doesn't give you the right to sit down with your family when you've been in custody and have lunch with your family every day when the Carr family can't do that at all. So I think that should be Sheriff Wayburn. That's a reflection on how we do different things. And I've tried cases a lot. Never seen this happen before. I've had it where my clients couldn't even touch their parents, their sisters or their brothers, let alone eat with them at lunch. So that's a disparity that's got to be addressed.
We haven't officially heard from the jury, but the 11 years, 10 months, and 12 days, that kind of correlates with the fact that she was killed October 12th.
Yes,
What are your thoughts on that?
I mean, I just think juries usually hang their hat on something, and they sat there and it's like the 11. Everything, haven't quite figured it out yet, but I think they did that on purpose.
Lisa, is this sentence justice for Atatiana?
No, 20 would have been justice. I mean, 20 would have been justice. You know, have manslaughter is justice. It should have been murder, 5 to 99 of life, but it wasn't. So the jury, they had a hard, decision, like I said, and 11 years knowing that this man would not be out pending appeal is huge.
I believe she's an attorney, but I don't know who she is.
Kind of walked into the courtroom waiting for that final sentence to be read.
Very anxious. I mean, we were very anxious. It's, sitting out here with all these folks every day. It's stressful. And today, when we heard today at order dinner, I'm like, wow, they do plan on being here for a while.
When the jury asked for the body cam and general orders, what went through your mind?
Well, they didn't ask for general orders during the guilt innocence phase. Then I said maybe they was going through general orders just to see how many violations he came up with. Maybe
her name is
him a year for each
Atatiana. It starts with an A.
I was just trying to think of anything. Why they going to
I believe some
orders.
family members shortened that.
Cam,
they had like a shorter name for it that was Tatiana.
Why they needed the general orders.
Or Tay.
Officers across the country involved in shooting deaths, they're not convicted. What message does this send to the rest of the country?
What it should send, first of all,
as far as the representing them in an upcoming civil case, we already know that Attorney Lee Merritt is representing them on the civil case that's already been filed. So
it's unbelievable.
She's not their representation.
Two rookies side by side. That normally doesn't happen. You should have a more experienced training officer out there, but just everything he did, a common sense approach would have been to knock on the door. Call dispatch and say, hey, do we have a phone number for this residence? Can you get us a phone number? Go talk to Mr. James again and say, hey, do you, something. But Aaron Dean was a hard charger, like Dale said.
After this past hour,
I'm going to switch to a different feed just so I can rewind here, and we'll play the verdict again one more time.
So James again and say, hey, do you,
so,
something.
Give me just
but
one
Aaron
second
Dean,
here.
It's a hard charger.
So we were hearing there from Lisa Pamplin, and basically she has been a court observer here for days. She has been here every single day of this trial, and she is an attorney here in Fort Worth, and she was saying that she hopes that this verdict will lead to some change, that she was upset that there were two rookies that responded to this call.
Okay, here we go. This happened just moments ago. As the jury comes in, let me zip ahead just a little bit.
For one, it's my understanding the jury has reached a verdict. Is that correct?
Correct.
Is it a unanimous verdict?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay. Can you hand it, please, to Deputy Nicholson?
The rule in Texas here is that he has to serve half the sentence before he's eligible for parole.
Verdict reads, we, the jury, having found the defendant, Aaron York Dean, guilty beyond a reasonable doubt of the offense of manslaughter, assess his punishment at confinement in the Texas Department of Criminal Justice for 11 years, 10 months, 12 days. They do not assess a fine. And it is signed by the presiding juror. You may be seated. Thank you very much.
10/12 was the day she died.
There was a jury as we
and
went
11
through
is how
before. I'm
old
going to
Zion
call
is right now.
your juror number and ask you if this verdict is your individual verdict. Juror number 1, is this your verdict?
Yes, Your Honor.
Juror number 3, is this your verdict?
Yes, Your Honor.
Juror number 4, is this your verdict?
Yes, Your Honor.
Juror number 6, is this your verdict?
Yes, Your Honor.
Juror number 9, is this your verdict? Juror number 14, is this your verdict?
Yes, Your Honor.
Juror number 15, is this your verdict?
Yes, Your Honor.
Juror number 21, is this your verdict? Juror number 31, is this your verdict?
Yes, Your Honor.
Juror number 32, is this your verdict?
Yes, Your Honor.
Juror number 37, is this your verdict?
Yes, Your Honor.
Juror number 38, is this your verdict?
Yes, Your Honor.
Your verdict will be received and filed. Thank you very much. Mr. Gill, Mr. Brissett, is there any legal reason why sentence should not be pronounced?
No legal reason.
Mr. Dean, it's the jury having found you guilty of the offense of manslaughter and assessed this punishment. It's the order of the court you be remanded to the custody of the sheriff, be delivered to the director of the Texas Department of Criminal Justice to serve your sentence as required by law. You will receive credit for all the time that you have served in custody on this case from the date of your original arrest up until today, which would be the date of sentence. You have the right to appeal the jury's decision. You do so by giving written notice of appeal to the Second Court of Appeals here in Fort Worth within 30 days. If you are indigent and cannot afford a lawyer, I would conduct an indigency hearing to determine if you are indigent. And if you are indigent, I would appoint a lawyer to represent you on appeal and provide you a record of this appeal of this trial at no cost. Mr. Gill, Mr. Brissett, if y'all will remain on his case pending his decision whether he wishes to appeal, and if you'll furnish the information for the trial court certification of appeal before you leave here today, I would appreciate it. Is there an allocution?
Okay, so that was it. Hey guys, in chat, I like different opinions. I really do. We just ask that they be civil. I don't put people in timeout for having an opinion I don't agree with, or even one that's not popular in the group. I want you to be here and share your opinion. Let's just do it civilly and talk about it. And let's do that. So we got the statements here from the two family members. They read those. Let me jog forward just a little bit. Oops, that was loud. Okay. And then afterwards, I just want to watch here. The judge thanked the jury, sent them back to the jury room. I want to look at what the family was doing here one more time. Because we had a little bit of hot mic. I'm just listening here.
Thanks to everyone. We're adjourned.
I will say that in the courtroom here, the families, and we being present, there are some strong feelings on both sides. They, as the judge said, they've been very respectful to each other. The issues that they've had regarding protesters and stuff, that all happened outside the courtroom, and the family was not any part of that. Okay. Yeah, there's not much happening right there. All right, so that happened. There we go. I shut off the live stream for just a minute, and then that's what happened here. The families are still speaking in the courtroom. Other representatives, we can listen in on that if you'd like. They just said appeal within 30 days, right? They can appeal, but because the sentence was over 10 years, any appeal he can't get out on appeal. So like what you can't say I want to be released from custody pending appeal. That doesn't work. He has to be in custody until or if the appeal is granted. Crying for both sides. Thanks for covering this. Rowdy Girl, thanks for being here. Thanks for sharing your opinion and your thoughts. Yeah, it's there weren't any winners here. There wasn't a solution here at the end that somebody would go home and be happy. But I do think that there will be some change, at least in Fort Worth. On the police level, I think there's maybe some things they could do better. And I think that, I think we always need to be reevaluating our position as a society to see if there's a problem we need to fix. No one wins it all. That's right. Both sides lost today, but at least he won't be in jail for the rest of his life. The jury decided he wouldn't be in jail for the rest of his life when they decided to convict him for manslaughter instead of murder. But I guess that was basically the facts that led them to that. If he had committed murder, I'm sure that if the jury felt that it was murder, if the elements of the charge for murder were met, he would have been convicted for that. I don't think they would have not convicted him. But they just didn't think that they met that charge, so they went with manslaughter. Am I taking the day off tomorrow? I don't know. It depends how I feel in the morning, Pauline. I don't have a case that we're following that I know of. We've got Sarah Boone, who was supposed to be today, is going to be on the 22nd. Let's see what else is happening. I think we'll do a morning meetup at 9 a.m. Eastern time, just to look and see if something came up that we might want to cover. I've got a call to make here out to Digital Muppet really quickly about a trial he'd like me to cover. We'll look into that and see what the situation is there. But let's see. So he can get out of good behavior in 5 years. Well, and it's going to be, he has to serve exactly 1/2 of his sentence. So if it was 11 years, that's 6.5, that's 5.5, plus 10 months, there's another 5 months, plus 12 days. So you're looking at just shy of 6 years that he has to serve before he's eligible for parole. So it'll be 6 years, minus whatever he's been in custody for, which has really only been a few days. He's been out on bond pretty much most of the time over these past 3 years. Disappointed with the sentence? No. I think the jury is the one who gets to decide that. And once they've made a decision, I tend to agree with it. I say, they have more information than we do. We didn't get everything. We saw what we were able to see through the TV cameras. They had a better vantage point to make that decision. So I'll agree with the verdict. I think that it's a good one. Impact statements were intense. They're in Texas. They tend to be a little shorter than the ones we see like in Florida, or like Parkland shooters and some of the others we've seen that have gone on. Even in the DV case up in Wisconsin, we had a lot more statements, and they were very powerful. Maybe we can stick to good old-fashioned suitcase murders from now on to avoid any arguments in chat. Yeah, some cases tend to have a political leaning to them, and we try not to get into the straight politics, just because the internet is the least effective place to argue politics. It really is. But yeah, the Sarah Boone case, the suitcase murders from the live stream earlier. If you don't know what the suitcase murder case is, watch my live stream from earlier today. It's a bit long, but we cover everything from the cell phone video of the victim in the suitcase begging for his life, all the way through interrogation videos, all the letters from the lawyers that they're trying to get off her case and don't want to support her, to represent her anymore. It's bizarre. It's crazy. The case is called Sarah Boone. Florida versus the state of Florida versus Sarah Boone. Sarah Boone's in the state of denial. She denies that it was intentional. I think the jury wanted to make a statement in voice and silence in the numbers. I believe so. I believe that was very intentional. There's no other reason for that. If the jury was hung, would they pull that jury? I don't think they'd, MB, I don't think they'd pull the jury and find out who the holdout was. That's something that's only privileged to inside the jury room. But the judge would have directed them to try to break that deadlock and try to come to a consensus. Any word on Sarah Boone yet? No, only that the judge had a couple cases that appeared on his docket at the last minute this morning, and then they had some trouble getting Sarah Boone to the hearing, which she wants to be at, and basically pushed it off for 2 days. So it's going to happen on the 22nd. There should be a better process for selecting a jury. We need people who are non-biased and more educated. We need a whole population who's more educated. We really do, because the qualification for serving on a jury is basically being an adult and a U.S. citizen registered to vote type thing. That's what gets you on the jury qualification-wise. Now, you can become unqualified or be through felony conviction type things. Kind of want to see Sarah Boone defend herself Daryl Brooks style. That would be amazing. I was trying to tell the makeup of the jury. We do know that just from the news that, as far as racial makeup, but it sounded like there were 4 women on the jury or 5 women on the jury. The rest were men. Is that what you guys heard as far as just the sound goes? It's just trying to assign a gender to a voice is sort of difficult sometimes. Eligibility for parole is 2/3 of sentence in Texas. I believe it was half. It was like half in 1 day type thing. Okay. Will Sarah Boone be live, Hannah? I believe it will be live. Florida is a very open court system, and they don't close courts unless they absolutely have to. And I don't think that there's anything in this case that would lead to it wanting to be closed. So there's plenty of interest in this case. I think we'll have a live stream of that. Whether or not they stream the hearing on the 22nd, I'm not sure. Hey, Linda, you just missed the verdict. It was 11 years, 10 months, 12 days with credit for time served. And it's in confinement. Okay, I think I've caught all the updates. Let's see, honor her by giving her the max sentence. Well, the jury they came to a conclusion within the guidelines. They had to choose something between 2 and 20. And some of the things they weigh is the fact that he didn't have a violent past, although there is some things in his past that they were told about, and they got to consider that as well. So I don't know, Hannah, as far as if he's in general population or not. I think that's what you're asking here. It's up to the sheriff, basically, for his own safety. The sheriff's responsible for keeping inmates safe, and if it's not safe for them to be in the general population, they'll send them somewhere else. Let's see. Legally deaf, never getting jury. I might miss important detail in the trial from either side, says Michelle. I didn't know that. I mean, it stands to reason that there would be some difficulty with a legally deaf individual participating in trial, especially hearing evidence and making sure they were able to hear everything or get all the information properly. That would be a challenge. Ann says, I didn't know you were live. I left a message on the old stream. Oh, thank you. I do appreciate all the people who left messages saying, hey, the verdict's in. It was literally just a few minutes after I stopped the live stream, the 5-hour, almost 6-hour live stream this morning, that you guys said, it's in, they're in. It's in 10 minutes. And that's great. I appreciate all the contact on the burner phone. Let's see. The sentence was just long enough to ruin his entire life. That's why protesters are let down, expecting to have a fight. Do you think Jim Bob, do you think there's going to be protests with the way the family's been speaking, with the very calm reaction to this, in the courtroom, in the halls? Do you think this will result in protests? Thanks for streaming. Please take rest. I do need rest. This cold is whooping my butt, and I don't want to keep medicating, so I'm probably going to go to bed tonight. So unless there's like some crazy live police chase that we just have to air, this is probably it for me today. I'm probably going to wrap it up and just get some rest. And then we'll be on tomorrow morning, just maybe for a short stream, just to catch up and see what the schedule will be throughout the remainder of the week. We are approaching the Christmas holiday, where most of the courts are not going to be doing business after about Wednesday. So, Kara Green, just jump in on what happened. He got sentenced. The jury came back with a verdict. It was unanimous. They sentenced him to 11 years, 10 months, 12 days. Big shout out to all the mods. Thank you so much. You guys are amazing. Keeping the chat nice and civil, as well as open and friendly. You guys are very much appreciated. Appreciate that. Rest up. Don't be poorly over Christmas. If it's just a cold, this is not bad. I mean, I have nothing to complain about. There's a lot of people dealing with worse sickness than what I've got right now. I fell asleep at the end of the last live. I have that soothing voice that just lulls you to sleep. Glad you got some rest, MB. It's awesome. This is a great group. If you just found this page and like the sort of chat we have here, the friendly environment, the discussion, all of that, please hit the subscribe button. Become a fellow addict, as all of us are. I am the recovery addict. I am addicted to recovering artifacts from the ground, metal detecting, but I'm also addicted to true crime and pickles. And we talk about all three of those things here on this channel. So do come back. I do a live stream every morning at 9 a.m. Eastern time from my home here in Eastern North Carolina, not far from where Mr. Beast lives. So if you want to get a message to Mr. Beast, I can't help you. I've never seen him. But pickles, not politics. That's one of our slogans here. We try not to be too political here, although occasionally some topics, do come up. We try to treat it civilly. What was the verdict? It was 11 years, 10 months, 12 days, which was symbolic, I believe. We haven't heard from the jury yet, but Zion is 11. So that's a year for each year that he's been alive. And Atatiana was shot on 10/12. And so having 11 years, 10 months, 12 days, I think that's what they went for. So much. Can't wait for Sarah Boone. Yeah, that was amazing. I love going over all the facts and hearing the 911 call today on the live stream. That was brilliant. I'm getting excited for that case as well. Not too far from the Mount Olive Pickle Company, right? They should be able to keep me in supply. Wombat Mommy made some homemade pickles for Christmas. All I need now is a P.O. box, and then you can send me some, right? MB, how do you feel? You got some rest, right? Are you feeling better? You got the COVID again? Oh no, MB, that's awful. Round 2, round 3, how many times? That is no fun. I hope you know, some of our live streams will at least make your days a little bit more pleasant. Let's see. Thank you very much, Ann. Good to have you here. Thanks, all of you. I said it before, but I'll say it again tonight when you go home. Please give a hug to those you love. Smile at somebody, make their day just a little bit better. And please stay safe till we go live again, which will be 9 a.m. tomorrow morning, barring some strange police chase or something that breaks tonight. So we'll get some rest, everybody. Hopefully I'll sound a little bit better than I do right now. This cold's really whooping me. Will he get good time to knock down his time? Air Force, the soonest he can get out is after half his sentence, which is basically 6 years. That's when he'll be eligible for parole. Unless he wins an appeal. Round 4. MB. I am so sorry. I am so sorry. Hopefully you whoop this one quick and it's not as bad as maybe a previous one. But thank you all. You guys are amazing. As Jake says, everybody twerk. No, don't do that. Thanks, you guys. You have a good night. We'll see you tomorrow.